Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Everything Everywhere All at Once, finding certainty and meaning in chaos and mayhem. I'm your host, Stephen Edwards. All right, well, we covered a lot. We covered a tremendous amount in episode 2. I know it was a long video, but the content was profound and very foundational in everything that we will be discussing here on out. So if you've not watched previous episodes 1 and 2, I strongly suggest you do, because it really sets up the foundation for everything. Okay, with that said, let's get into it. As individuals, we have a very limited perspective on things from our point of view. If we could look down from a higher point of view, we could obviously see things much more clearly and often make better informed decisions, right? So, for example, we use this example here. I'm going to put this up here. Talking about everything. We're looking at a maze, right? So imagine looking at a maze from above where you can see everything everywhere in the maze all at once. So we see this mouse here at one end of the maze. Now, if it had to try and find its way through the maze from its very grounded, limited perspective, it could take an eternity, right? It could take a long time for the mouse to try different routes and remember which worked and which didn't. It may never find its way out. But if we can look from above the maze, then we can quickly see how we could very quickly get through the maze, get where we want to go, and be able to get through it, right? Just as I showed you there. And that's not because I'm a genius. It's pretty obvious when we look at that from above, right? Make sense? Yes, it takes no time. Truly amazing. All right. As we discussed in episode 2, this is where we're getting to the point here. Time is not linear. It's vertical. Look, in reality, and I guess it depends on which reality you live in, but there is really only one eternal moment. So if we use a glass of water as an analogy, you look at a glass of water, right? There are particles throughout the glass of water, some at the top, some in the middle, some closer to the bottom. But everything in that glass of water is happening simultaneously, right? Whatever's happening at the top or the bottom or the middle or the bottom is happening all at once, right? So while moving from one point to another within the glass, it may seem to take time. So really, time is just a measurement, right? Yet everything within the glass exists in one moment. So everything everywhere is happening at once right now and is exactly where it should be. Now, I understand that might be challenging to grasp initially, but over time, pardon the pun, you will adjust as you navigate the glass of water, which is what we're going to be doing going forward. So as we evolve consciously, we are going to become aware of the other places, other particles, other universe in the tall glass of water. So I've started to show you other universes that already exist around you, and I'm going to show you many more. Some very simple ones. We talked about social media, right? When you get in there, it's a different universe. We talked about resorts, all that kind of thing, right? So then we're going to discuss, once we've got really familiar with that fact, and I've got a lot more of these universes to show you that you're just not aware of right now. Then we'll discuss parallel universes that we cannot yet perceive. So as you will see, as I show you these other universes, our ability to perceive these other worlds is going to increase, both because of technology. So I'm going to show you technology allows us to see things now that have always been there, that are mind-blowing, that you just didn't know about before. And because our faculties, our ability to perceive, our sight, our minds are going to open up, and our faculties are also going to improve. So as we know it, time is collapsing. You may have noticed that time seems to be speeding up, right? The days, the weeks, the years appear to go faster and faster. Seems like every day people say, I can't believe this year has gone so quickly, right? And that is not because you're getting older, right? Our perception of time is determined by the frequency of the earth coming into our heart, as we discussed in episode 2. See, you got to go back. So the frequency of the earth and the universe is speeding up. And therefore, as we perceive time through that frequency that enters our heart, it is speeding up. So we're going to delve into the science behind this moment a little more and why our perception of time is in fact accelerating in future episodes. All right. So everything, everywhere, all at once is really speeding up, as the Mayans predicted. Their calendar ended on December the 23rd, 2012. Why didn't they just keep going? I mean, it was 20,000 year calendar. Why did it stop? Because they said that after that time, yes, time itself would cease to make any sense. And it seems to be coming true, doesn't it? So we really are the human race right now. We are racing towards our future at an unprecedented pace. Our destination, our destiny, as always, hangs in the balance. We have the power of free will in this existence, in this reality that we're in. And so it's up to us. The good news is there is light at the end of what might sometimes seem like a dark tunnel. Look, new revolutionary breakthroughs are converging right now, shaping our world in unprecedented ways and affecting what? Everything, everywhere, all at once. So this is important to understand as we move into this brave new world, the world of multiverses. We need to recognize that every boat we come across is not one we have to take. What does that mean? Look, there are so many options today, so many things vying for your attention. It's hard to focus, right? Many people have what we call SOS, shiny object syndrome, right? So it's important that we don't give our time away frivolously. You need to become very protective of your time, how you spend your time. Remember, time is not money. It's our most precious resource after our health. And your attention, what you put attention to, your energy, is the currency of the future. What if you could spend less time doing the things that you don't want to do and spend more time doing the things that bring you joy? What if you could get control of your mind and have laser focus and be able to create the life you desire? Is that something that you feel might be worthwhile looking into? Okay, good. So that means doing less and having more. Huh? Yes, I know that sounds crazy. But look, so has everything else I've said so far, and you're still here. So let's keep going. Yes, I'll explain that more. No, we're not there yet. So stop asking. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look at how we can accomplish this crazy concept. Let's look at how this amazing journey will unfold right in front of our eyes. Our real eyes, which we talked about in episode 1 and 2. Okay, now, let's look here. So we're taking the 30,000 foot view. There's this young man. It's a very high mountain. Yeah, I know. All right. So now, as we've already talked about, I'll actually go back one here. I think that's the one I want to be on. Now, yes. So as we've already talked about, the rapid, radical, revolutionary, and exponential change we're experiencing in everything, everywhere, all at once. So speaking of exponential, technological breakthroughs have paved the way for companies to experience extraordinary exponential growth, right? In their recent updated version of the book, Exponential Organizations, authors Salim Ismail and Peter Diamandis argue that the new age of companies are achieving remarkable growth rates, even with very limited people. They envision the rise of unicorn companies that are valued at over $1 billion, led by small teams of just 2 or 3 individuals. Now, this prediction highlights the immense potential of the era we are entering, where technology and innovation drive commercial success. What it also tells us is that everyone, everywhere, all at once can start their own business with very little or no money and build it very quickly using these technologies. We'll talk about how there is already demand for whatever gifts you have to offer. Look, the old economic system suppressed this diversity of creativity, offering us very limited choices. But in his book, The Long Tail, and the subsequent sequel, The Longer Tale, Chris Anderson explains now how with new technology, we can store every song ever created in a tiny fraction of the amount of space. When you had CDs, the store only had a certain amount of room. They could actually put these CDs on display. Therefore, you only had a limited choice. But now the fact that we can digitize all these songs and have limitless options, and what he discovered is every single song sold. Now, some sold more than others, right? But everybody has a creative gift that somebody wants to experience. It's built into the system. All we need to do is get your creative gifts out into the world. Now, that can be amplified as the way you do it. Yes, so you're going to learn that too. So how do you want to make the world a better place? What creative gifts do you have that you want to express and put out in the world? Don't tell me you haven't thought about it, because you have. So now is the time for you. Now is the time. Remember that soul tree at the end of, now is the time to live life on your terms and do the things you've always wanted to do. So what is your passion? Tony Robbins has a byline, live with passion. Because passion is your unique creativity, your unique creative expression, expressing itself on the physical plane. In the Everything Everywhere All at Once series, we're going to help you develop your own mission, vision, and purpose, and point you in the direction to get started. So step one, you got to change your beliefs. We talked about that, right? We've got to start to adopt the beliefs that are going to take us in the direction that we want to go, and get rid of the beliefs that are holding you back. So we're going to start to question what you believe. And we're starting to do that, right? No kidding. All right. Now, number two is you got to create a mission, vision, and purpose, right? And then number three, we're going to create a path and a plan for its implementation. Okay. So let's move to this slide. In the grand scheme of history, humanity has witnessed profound shifts in the systems governing our world, right? From religious rule to politically outlined nations, mirroring the cosmic ebb and flow of expansion and contraction, the in and out breath of the universe. Just like us, we have an in and out breath, right? Everything, as in the micro, as in the macro, right? In recent times, we have been going through a contraction. For example, we've seen countries contract and promote nationalism and close their borders. Not without contention, but nevertheless, we've been living in a recent era of contraction rather than expansion. For example, we've withdrawn our military from Afghanistan. NASA closed its space program. Now we find ourselves on the cusp of another expansive surge, emerging not from governments, but from corporations and the blossoming world of innovative technology. The space program is an example, right? SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, right? And of course, Blue Origins. Corporations doing what governments did in the past, right? Shows you the power now of corporations, private companies and public companies launching new space programs and technology, allowing us to create expansive resources that democratize and demonetize virtually everything, everywhere, all at once. And it's just beginning, right? So Chris Anderson has an amazing book called Free. Now, these books were written a long time ago, but explaining how the cost of everything is coming down to free. So what, like music, you got Spotify, musicians, artists do not make money now out of their songs. They monetize it through tours, merchandise, the Internet of Everything, IoE, smart devices, social media, gaming, AI, and the, electrical vehicle industry or EV industry are examples of how these technologies are not just changing the way we live, they're democratizing opportunities for entrepreneurship like never before. So maybe you've had this idea in the past, well, I don't have the resources. It's just not any way I could start a company. I don't have any money. All these things that have been programmed into your mind that could be holding you back now, and nothing could be further from the truth. This is your time, right? So with each leap and bound in technology, new avenues surface for companies to flourish and grow. So much so that corporations such as Apple, Amazon, Google, Tesla, and many more now generate revenues that eclipse the gross domestic product, or GDP, of entire nations. So the power is shifting beyond borders to what Bajoli Srinivasan calls nation states that have no clearly defined borders. Now, think about this, right? You've seen Earth from space, right? And isn't it amazing how when you look down from space, you can see all the clearly defined borders of countries, right? Because they've like drilled them into the Earth and it all, no? You can't see that? You know, it's funny, neither can I. Because there aren't any, all right? So we're going to be changing from borders of countries, which are just make-believe, right? What? Yes, it's make-believe. America doesn't exist. Greece doesn't exist. It's just made up in our minds. Well, so we're living in a world of make-believe? 100%, right? So these network states, which are going to grow, are just going to be network communities made up of people all over the globe living in different lands, or what we call or know as countries today. So there's something called VLEO, very low Earth orbit satellites, which I'm not going to get into all that right now, but these satellites are going to be able to blanket the Earth. So everybody, everywhere, all at once will have access to the internet and connect humanity globally. Nuh-uh. Uh-huh. Yes, right? So this creates endless opportunities for individual people of the world to gain power and influence over their lives by joining online communities, having access to AI. People have never had access to these things before. And what we've proven many times over, one example is the Barefoot College in India, right? So they went out to little villages in the outskirts of cities where there was no education, and they created colleges. And they got these people into these colleges, and what they found is there was just an untapped genius. And we're going to have that all over the world. This gives us the ability to reach parts of the world that are inaccessible, either from a geographical or economic perspective, and bring people together in huge communities that themselves will wield tremendous power and influence. You know, a small example of this and the power of these communities. Think of Reddit, right? One small example. Recently completely confounded large companies that short stocks in the market, turning trading on its head for a while, right? All these global networks are continuing to grow exponentially. And with the advent of VLEO and these satellites, imagine how much power these communities are going to yield. So we're going to look at this more in detail. We're just giving a 30,000 foot view right now, but we're going to look at this in more detail and what defines a nation state in upcoming episodes. Now, how about the people and companies who own the on-ramps to these communities? They already have tremendous power, right? Because if you don't have access to these social media platforms, you cannot access your network. What if you were banned or had access taken away? That's a lot of power, isn't it? Yes, now you understand why these tech companies are vying not only for your dollars, not only for your attention, they are vying for the power they will have over the mind of humanity in the future. So now, before we become nation states, we are more likely to become corporate states. It's already happening. Corporations already, as we spoke earlier, hold the key to all kinds of things, like our political system. So without access to social media, politicians, they can't talk to the public at scale. So without social media, kids become non-entities. Even Even most adults use social media for connecting with family and friends, not just locally, but globally. Social media has now become the most powerful medium for humanity to connect and promote. This is already changing everything, everywhere, all at once. And it's going to continue to do so. Okay. Now, I promised my YouTube manager that I would keep this episode to about 10 minutes. His name is Ishwar, by the way, Ishwar. And if you want to thank him for this shorter episode, put it in the comments below. So, as we conclude here, I do want to share some sultry, the poetry of the soul. This will help you assimilate what we talked about and connect you with your soul. So, take a deep breath. Let it out. Gently close your eyes. Relax, or even better, chillax, right? Now, this piece of sultry is called No Longer in Demand. You'll never be better. You'll never be better than you are now. You are eternally perfect. Eternally. All of you. All of you is the universe and everything within it. That is who you are. You are simply defining you as a localized aspect of the whole of your being, and demonstrating your level of conscious awareness of who you really are in each moment of your existence as a human being in this space-time continuum, which in truth only exists as a filament of your imagination, a minuscule representation of your essence, the likeness of me, you, us, we, beings of light. So your possessions are not who you are. That house is not you any more than that car. You are the love of light. You are truly a star. You live in a mansion of the grandest proportions. You have forgotten and now live in distortions. You are about to wake up from this hallucination. You are about to break free of all this damnation. What will you see on the other side? A land of love that stretches far and wide. A place where peace will always abide. Where there is freedom of spirit, not anger and pride. Where all your questions are answered, you now understand that there is only one of you and only one great land. Where love is all there is and available on command. Joy to the world is now and no longer in demand. Yeah, the house, the car, the land, the country, the nation, these are not who you are, nor is your family. They are all reflections of you, but they are not you. They are not you as the unique, localized form of light that you have come to be. Okay, that sink in, that sentiment is the most important part of the entire Everything, Everywhere, All at Once series. You are light come to be. Become who you really are in the flesh as a human being. It's time to remember. It's time for you to recall. Okay, when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. You know, as I always end out by saying, Socrates said, learning is simply remembering. He understood that we are all simply in a state of forgetfulness. We are on a journey of remembrance, remembering who we really are. Only in this state of forgetfulness can we experience the life that we've come here to live, individually and collectively. We're coming to the end of one journey as we simultaneously embark on a new one. One where we reconnect with our true nature. When we are in and connected to our true nature, we remind each other of who we really are. So we can remember together, come together as members of the most elite club ever created, membership with the one and only. And as I always finish out with, the Greeks had a saying, saper ord, which has many meanings, but in essence, it means dare to be wise. The ultimate dare is to be who you really are in the presence of others. You know, I use an acronym for DARE, Daily Active Remembering Experience. So at the end of each episode, I give everyone, everywhere, all at once a dare. A way to have a daily active remembering experience. In episode 1, the dare was to start an everything, everywhere, all at once journal. Journal every day and bring it with you to each episode. Then perhaps during and after each episode, journal your thoughts and feelings about the ideas and concepts that we shared. At the end of episode 2, the dare was to connect with another person or persons or a group to discuss the concepts and ideas shared in each episode. Challenge these concepts and ideas and perhaps even expand upon them. Here at the end of episode 3, the dare is to write your own soul tree. Perhaps after watching this video and journaling your thoughts and feelings, write a piece of soul tree. How? Just follow your heart and intuition. For me, I just start to write whatever's in my head. Then my soul takes over and I start writing, seemingly automatically, without thought, without judgment. I just write whatever comes to me. Sometimes it flows for hours and I don't even remember writing anything. There's no right or wrong way. Your heart and soul have their own rhythm. Let your heart sing your song. It's why you're here. I hope to hear your soul tree and be inspired by your heart. In the meantime, saper ord, dare to be wise.